Welcome to Mind, Body, and Soul with Kween, where we educate the mind, feed the body, and rejuvenate the soul. Today we're going to talk about a touchy subject. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So this episode, we're going to talk about domestic violence, the untold story. And what we're going to be doing today is breaking the silence. It's many stigmas going on about domestic violence. Many people don't want to talk about it. They're embarrassed because they've gone through it. Then you have people that are pushed away because they feel like they can't or don't have anyone that they can talk to. To me, overall, domestic violence seems to be like a control issue. A person that wants to control everything that someone else has going on. And if they can't control that situation, then they result in anger. And it's not fair to the next one. A lot of times the victim of domestic violence is a good-hearted person. A person that would do anything for their partner or their loved one. A one that would go over and beyond for the person that they're with. What happens is they end up getting manipulated and they end up getting abused. And the three forms of abuse is mental, physical, and emotional. And a lot of times we don't understand that. And it really starts emotionally. They break you down, they weaken you, and you don't understand what's going on. And a lot of times people don't understand why do some people stay. Because they've been manipulated to the point to where they don't feel like they can leave. They're not strong enough to leave. And a lot of people will judge them to say that, well, why they letting someone beat on them? Why they doing this? Or why they going through this? Why they going through that? You never know until you're that person that's in that situation. I myself have been a victim of domestic violence at an early age. They say normally between the ages of 16 and 24 that a lot of people go through that. And I can't just say it's only women, it's men as well. But me myself was a victim of domestic violence. I fell for a person that I thought was, of course, fell head over heels. I thought that was the one. That was the person for me. And we all do. We fall into that puppy love and we don't understand. And once I allowed him to get into my mind to manipulate me, it was kind of over from there. He didn't like for me to work with men. He didn't like for me to be around men. He didn't like for me to wear makeup unless the makeup that I was wearing was when we went out. So the times that I had makeup on, it was when we went out to go visit maybe family and friends. I was with him. After then, my makeup would disappear. He'll break it. He'll tear it up. He'll throw it away. Whatever he needed to do. Then when it was time for us to go out and see family again, I'll be at the store buying more makeup. He didn't like for me to wear anything, even if it was the slightest bit revealing. I couldn't wear it. He's come to my job. He's embarrassed me at my job. He has or did embarrass me at my job, embarrassed me in front of family and friends. He isolated me from family and friends. And that's one of the things that a lot of domestic violence people, that's what they do. They isolate you away from anyone that can protect you, anyone that can help you. They bring you to a new situation. I graduated high school. I was ready to move on and go to college. And I moved away into a new city, a thriving city, a city that would have been great for me. However, I moved with the wrong person. I didn't know anyone, didn't have any family. And his own family tried to warn me not to be with him. They tried to help me out of that situation. But me at the time, I was young, eager for love, wanted to show that I was down for whatever. And I fell into that trap. And a lot of women do. You fall into that trap. That's not saying that you're wrong. That's not saying that you've done anything wrong. Sometimes we don't know any better. Sometimes some people don't have the guidance that they need. Sometimes some people don't have that person that's going to pull them out of the situation. Not just talk them out of it, but actually pull them out of the situation. And we would fight. We would argue. He would try to manipulate me. He would not just try to, he would manipulate me. He manipulated me to a point to where I became weak and I fell for anything. I came to a point in time to where I said, you know what? I'm a beautiful young lady. I have so much going for myself. I have so much ahead of me. There is no way that I should be going through this situation with him. I had grown to know that that wasn't right. Once I made up my mind to say, this was it. I'm not going through this anymore. This is not what I deserve as a woman, a young woman at that. I wouldn't want my worst enemy to go through what I went through. Once I decided that that was it, that was it. I called, and once before I called my sister and I told her, please come get me. He would drag me away, make sure that I wasn't there. My sister them drove 2 hours to come and get me. He snatched me away from the residence where we were at and made me go with him. And he kept me away. My sister them was calling me. They came to pick me up and I was nowhere to be found. So that was a couple of years before. But when I finally got fed up, I had to plan my escape. And that's exactly what I did. I called my sister and I said, I know that I called you guys before, but this time I'm serious. Please come get me. I need you to be at my house at a certain time, not a minute sooner, not a minute later, at this time. I knew what time I got off of work. I knew how long it took me to get home. I already had my bags packed and I had them hid to where he wouldn't know that I had them packed. I didn't even pack everything. I just packed a little bit just for a couple of days. We got home. I got home from work. He came to pick me up. I made it home from work. Knock on the door. He was like, who is that? Because we didn't have visitors like that. Who is that? I said, I don't know. I said it real loud. I don't know. Answer the door so they can hear me at the door. So he went to the door. While he was going to the door, I was going in the opposite direction to get my bags. And as soon as he turned around towards me, I was walking out the door. I just told him, come on, let's go. It was just that quick because I knew if he had the opportunity, what was going to happen. So as soon as he opened up the door, I was coming out the door with my bags and I never looked back. I came back at a time that he wasn't there and removed everything that was in the house. Removed all my clothes, took everything. And that's what I did. I did not look back. And you know, the funniest thing about it is that I left, the night that I left, I slept so peacefully. It was so much relief off of me because I knew, I was like, you know what? I finally did it. I finally got out of the situation. It was bad, you know. I purchased my first car. He wrecked my first car, made it seem like it was okay, but it was a controlled thing. That way, he can come pick me up and take me wherever I had to go. I didn't have the ability to go on my own. It was a controlled thing. But when I got out of that situation, I was free. I never looked back. And what it taught me is an important lesson that I will never get in that situation again. You see the signs of a person and you like, well, no, I don't want to go through this again. And even the slightest signs of something like that will scare you away from a person. It will make you realize and look at things differently. And that's what we have to do. We have to analyze the situation before we just jump into it. Don't jump head first in love. You have to analyze the situation, communicate with that person, see what that person's faults are, because we all have them. We all have flaws. See what that person's weaknesses are. See what their strengths are. See what their family thinks about you, because his own family did not want me to be with him. But I didn't look into that. I was young. You know, I wasn't thinking about that. I was like, oh, whatever. They don't want me to be with them. Whatever. But they were really looking out for me. And if I would have known better, I would have listened to them. So sometimes we have to heed those warnings of the people that are around us, because sometimes you do have people that they don't know what they're talking about and they will give you bad advice. And you have some that are giving you the best advice that you can never take. So sometimes we have to heed to that. One time I remember I went to prom and it was one of the situations to where I had to speak up. And we got a suite, hang out after the prom. We got a suite and we kept hearing the banging noises. I'm like, what is going on? First, you know, we're all grown. So, you know, we're seniors and stuff in high school and Maybe they were in there doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing. Whatever. It wasn't my business at first. But then I kept hearing it. And I'm like, something is not right. I said, can y'all just check on it? Just make sure that they're okay. You know, come to find out that a couple was in there and they were into it. And he was banging her head up against the wall. So when they went to the door, he was like, man, we all right. We all right. Close the door. Hear the banging again. I said, look, y'all gonna have to do something about it. I don't know. Maybe she is scared of him or whatever. I'm not gonna sit in this room with this going on and no one is saying anything. Y'all, this is y'all friend, cousin, whoever he is to you guys. Y'all have to step up and say something. And they said something to him. But we cannot stand around and sit around and let it happen. I see now, since technology has come about, people want to record things and people want to show. It's not a show. This is people that are actually going through things. They are actually going through. And she was scared. She needed someone to step up for her. And we have to be that person to step up. Don't be scared. Sometimes that's what they need. And you know, I know a lot of people have heard it before that a lot of times they'll step up to the ones that they know won't defend themselves, but they won't step up to the ones that will defend themselves. So sometimes we have to be that voice. And sometimes as men and women, we have to protect each other. And I know you guys have watched a popular show, P-Valley. And P-Valley, there was a couple that was on there that she was going through domestic abuse, you know, from her husband. They had been together for a long time. They moved in together. She ended up getting pregnant, having 2 kids, but he abused her. He himself was abused as a child. So he trickled that behavior into beating on her. And they were asking her why she wouldn't get out of it. She tried. He disconnected the battery. He did this. He did that. And he will always come back with, I love you. I'm sorry, baby. Buy her a gift. She got to a point to where she got tired of it. She was tired of it. Some days she would think about fighting back, try to fight back, and it wouldn't go as planned. And she finally made up in her mind that, hey, I'm going to get away from this situation. No one deserves to go through that. She used to have to hide it with makeup and scars and stuff like that. No one should have to go through that. And you cannot continue to forgive a person after they have gone through it again. They need some type of help. And sometimes leaving them is the help that they need the most. Don't take yourself through that situation and you are the one that's being abused. If they can't get the help that they need to better love you and better treat you and your children, then they don't deserve you. And we have to understand that we are worth a whole lot more. I've seen worse situations. I've seen situations to where women have been abused, even men, you know, because we feel like that since we're the woman, a man is not supposed to hit a woman, so we can hit that man. That's still abuse. I've heard of emotional abuse towards men as well, not just violence of hitting them, physical, but emotional abuse to where women have talked down on men, talked bad to men, weakened them, and they can't stand up for themselves. It happens. That doesn't make that man weak. He loves that woman. He loves that woman enough to take her stuff that she's given him. But that doesn't mean because he's taking it to continue to give it to him. This man loves you. So we have to understand and realize when a person loves us, not take them through whatever. We have to love them back and give them the love they need, even if it is a correction upon ourselves. We need to do it. It starts when you're young. Little small anger issues turn into bigger anger issues. You throw a temper tantrum because you can't get your way, you're going to be that when you get older. You can't solve problems. You can't communicate. You don't know how to communicate. It causes problems. We have to take a stand and speak up. Break the silence. Even though I understand a lot of people don't want to go through it, you're embarrassed, but you have to speak up. Help one another. You're not the only one that's going through that situation. So find somewhere where you can get help and find a safe haven and a safe place for yourself, even if it means starting from nothing. Even that starting from nothing is waking up to not fearing getting beat, getting abused emotionally, being talked about, being belittled. I would rather start from nothing. Sometimes you have to take that. And a lot of times we fear being lonely, so we stay in that situation. We have to check ourselves, strengthen ourselves to be able to know that we are better, we are greater than that situation. And then we have to find the help that we need, even if we are our own help, to get out of that situation. Then we have to be able to raise our children the right way. Raise our children to know that it's not okay to abuse someone. It's not okay to walk around with anger issues and think that, everybody owes you something or everybody's supposed to bow down to what you need. We spoil these children. Spare the rod, spoil the child. And they grow up in those ways that they are when they were little, turn into bigger problems when they're older. So we have to be able to show them the way to treat others, to love others, and know that that temper tantrum has to stop. We can't give them their way all the time, because by doing that, we're allowing them to feel like it's okay. They can't control their anger. Then they turn into adults that can't control their anger. And as soon as they get mad, they're ready to put their hands on someone. They're ready to smack someone. They're ready to do this. They're ready to do that. And of course, it is with domestic violence, but just violence, period. You have people that can't control their anger, so they want to go shoot and kill someone. And they end up dead or in the grave. Or end up killing someone. They're in jail. Hurting someone, they're in jail. So it's the same way. Just like, a story, and I shared it on my show, and I'll talk about my show here in a little bit. A man was getting abused by a woman. She got 18 years in prison for her abuse. But she abused him because he didn't tell her that he loved her enough. He didn't tell her that he loved her enough. So she abused him. She took an iron to him. She took a hammer to him. She belittled him. He said he lost 25% of his body weight from her abuse. All because he didn't express his love enough to her. But by allowing her to do him the way that she did was enough to say that I love you. So why continue to abuse this man the way that you did? So this man for the rest of his life is going to have issues with dating, issues with dealing with other people, because he's going to be in a shell that she put him in. So we have to be careful of the people that we allow into our lives. And we have to be careful about the little people that we are raising up. And we have to teach them to communicate. Communicate. Use your words. I watched a video of I think it was a dad. The baby was crying, but she knew how to talk. And he was like, "What's wrong?" And he said, "No, use your words. Use your words. Teach these children how to communicate. Even if you don't know how to communicate yourself, teach this child, find a way, resources out there, communicate properly." Communicating is not arguing. It's not yelling back and forth to each other. That's not communication, because you can't think when you're angry. But when you can sit down and come up with a solution to the problem, then you are effectively communicating. Then you are making a difference. Then you are making leeway and making progress. We have to be able to make a change, break the silence, stand up, and do something different. We have to make this world better, and we can't make it better by always being angry, not knowing how to communicate, and thinking that everything is supposed to be our way. It's not going to be like that. It's never going to be like that. You can't have your way with everything, and that's a good thing. God didn't create us like that. He didn't say he was going to give you everything, because sometimes we don't know what we need. So we should allow him to control that and let us know what we need. And let him provide us with what we need, instead of us always trying to take control. We're not in control. Allow him to be in control. That's what we should do. And I talked to a young lady today, and she said, it's so hard to talk to people about it, because people who haven't been through domestic violence, they judge others. Well, why she letting him do her? Like, why? You don't know unless you've been in that situation. Lean not on your own understanding. You don't know what's going on in another situation. Just because you feel like you cannot go through that, doesn't mean that you won't ever, or no one else is going through it. You never understand a person's situation. Sometimes you're just supposed to be that shoulder and that ear for someone to listen to, for someone to come and talk to, and you listen. Don't push another away and judge them based on what you've gone through, because you never know why that person is going through what they're going through. But you may be that voice and that inspiration that they may need to come out of that situation. You don't have to understand. Just be there. That's enough understanding in itself. Be there for one another. Help one another any way that you can. Even if it's a situation where you be like, well, I've helped her before and she didn't do nothing. She's not going to do nothing now. You never know what it took the first time or the second time. Just like the first time when I called my sister and I said, please come get me. They didn't know that he drugged me away from that house and took me somewhere. They didn't know that. But that second time I called them, they came. And that's what I needed. But if they hadn't come, I would have been stuck in that situation. I knew that second time I was ready. I was ready. I knew I was. I had got myself together. I was ready. I was ready the first time, but didn't know that he was going to take me through that situation. But that second time, I was ready. So sometimes all a person needs is someone to help them and to be there for them and to not judge them. The worst thing that we do all the time is judge a person. No one needs you to judge them. They're already judging themselves. They don't need you to judge them. Judge not, and let ye not be judged. Be open-minded. Be there for another. Be that friend, that listening ear, that hug, that voice, that inspiration that another person needs. You never know why you are put into a person's life. Domestic violence is real. It's out there. And even if someone is not putting their hands on another person, emotionally, mentally, they can be abusing that person. They can distract them from their goals. They can keep them and hold them back from them doing what they're supposed to be doing or reaching their highest potential. So we have to be careful with that. Speak up, take a stand, and break the silence. Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my show, Kweenin, Living Life, we're going to be talking about breaking the silence. I'll be talking about the domestic violence, giving some true facts, sharing some videos on domestic violence. We have to be the help that each other's need and each other needs. So you can tune in on HPTV, which is on Roku station. I will also share part of it on YouTube. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube at Kweenin Love. KWEENINLOVE. Please like, share, follow. I will share all types of episodes and things dealing with the mind, body, and soul. Some stuff as domestic violence, what's going on in the world, being the voice that people need. I will be sharing some full reviews. I will be having some business guests. A lot of things will be going on. So please like, share, subscribe, follow me for more. So as I always say, mind, body, and soul, educate the mind, feed the body, and rejuvenate the soul.